I left my heart. All right, should be good here. Stream is on. Yep, looks good. There we go. All right, share. One sec, guys. Let me just quickly send this. Let me know if you guys can hear me loud and clear, and then we will go ahead and begin. All right. Yeah. Hey guys. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of pretty much explain the next setup for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and pretty much what we're looking for altcoins, and whether or not this was a possible bottom formation, or if we're still expecting more downside, and kind of going over the market structure here. So I talked about the 73.7 level for the past few days. A lot of traders, what happened right here was, of course, that we didn't end up seeing that level structure hitting. We actually saw a bounce opportunity into the exponential moving averages. This range right here was a clear confirmation that bulls were not in control. Remember, in order for us to have some sort of local bottom formation, or even any sort of bottom formation, what we need to see is a break above the exponential moving averages, retest them as support, and then the confirmation towards the upside. You can see that although we did end up breaking into the exponential moving averages right here, we did not in fact test them. The reason why the 73.7 level once again was very important is going back on previous price analysis here on the daily, we already had an opportunity for the bulls to take control of the market right here back in April of 2025. The bulls ended up hitting this level, same region around 74. Then we saw the bounce opportunity. And then, of course, that was pushing back to a near all-time high. But why would the market bounce again at 74? It just doesn't make sense. The fact that we're even back in this range isn't bullish by any means, right? I teach you guys this a lot of times. On the weekly structure, we need to actually hold above the support level. We don't want to see the same supports being tested over and over. And that's pretty much what happened here. Now that we saw the capitulation candle, so again, 73.7 ended up hitting. We actually saw a fake out going all the way down into 72.8, and now we're seeing a bounce opportunity. This is not a confirmation for you to long. I will repeat myself. This is not a confirmation for you to long just yet, because what we need to see is the daily close. The daily close is going to be the most important part as of now for the next hour and 56 minutes. If we can end up closing above 73, which again, as of right now, looks great on paper, but if we can close above this level, then yes, we do have a possible opportunity for us to look for long positions, at least back into the 85K, if not the 81K region. The reason why I'm choosing these two levels is, again, on the daily, this is where the EMAs are lining up. You can see that we are in extreme oversold conditions. This is pretty much the last time we were this oversold was, of course, back in November of 2025. It is very, very large in terms of how much drawdown we've seen for the past few days. 89 all the way down into 72 without any sort of relief rally. There are a ton of people that are looking for long opportunities as of right now, and the same thing for short opportunities. But in my opinion, when you have this much of a large downtrend, more than likely the market ends up squeezing above, and then of course the finale move, or of course we see the opportunity for the rise. So the question becomes is, where exactly are we looking for long positions for confirmation? So number one, we're going to be looking for this midterm resistance right here. I'll go ahead and draw the line for you guys so everyone is on the same page. This is going to be the next major or midterm resistance. I'll go ahead and draw it in green. That's our next long confirmation. That's it. Just like I said, in terms of the support retest and shorting 73.7, 73.7, from a long perspective, it's going to remain at 79.3. If we can end up breaking above that level, pretty much all of these shorts right here, all of these guys that ranged in between this consolidation, they will end up getting liquidated. More than likely, then we will see a wick from 79 all the way to 81. It should be a very clean wick, because again, these guys are going to be our strength in terms of liquidations, right? A lot of these folks right here entered shorts later, and we can see that market in general is starting to slow down in terms of consolidation and nukes from previous price analysis that we, of course, we had much larger candlesticks. And I think today's candle pretty much ended off this move set in general. So now, again, we're going to be looking for 79.3 for a long position on Bitcoin. But otherwise, we are not looking for any sort of trade updates. This is now a moment in terms of Bitcoin. What we need to see is a candlestick close at 73, because I warned you guys about this before. This level is not just a random level I chose. This level, of course, is the level from Trump's presidency where we won and we saw that massive squeeze. You guys remember from previous price, that was pretty much the time in Telegram the most amount of money was made. And now what we're seeing is the same level being retested as support. So we cannot lose this level, 73.7. If we do manage, again, I'll talk about worst case scenario now. Worst case scenario, let's say we assume the fact that we do end up seeing a candlestick close below 73, right? We see a rejection formation here. Then the next setup in terms of Bitcoin for a free fall opportunity is going to be around 63K. And the reason why I'm choosing 63K, and I know my lines are giving you probably a headache, so let me clear it out here. But the reason why the 63K region is very important, assuming, once again, the assumption is that we lose 73 and close below, is because right now, this is a major daily support and weekly support. You can see that just from previous price analysis back here in March of 2024, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 test opportunities. There's a huge cluster right here. And again, when you have that many retest opportunities in terms of support, we will not end up holding that level. If you'll also notice, this is also the bottom of the move set, right? So right around that 63K region is pretty much where the move set started. Now that is a worst case scenario. In my eyes, I hope, and again, I hope that we bounce from here at 73. If I was looking for some bid opportunity or buying the dip, this would be this level I'd be looking for buying the dip. Again, 73K. But reason why we're not looking for long positions, I'm only talking about spot here, we're not looking for longs because the concern is in Asia hours, if we end up rejecting this level, then yes, we have a lot further of the capitulation coming ahead. But in terms of spot, no one's going to sit here and tell you like, yeah, this is the top, this is the bottom, right? We've seen time after time where the market does few fake outs and then bounces, and a lot of people regret doing it. So that's why in terms of spot positions, it's not a bad point to start loading down here at 73. And again, I warned you guys at 83 that no, I'm not looking for spot positions up here because I do think that 73K will be tested. If we go across the board right now, altcoins are getting absolutely destroyed, right? We can see this from pretty much all, even if we want to look at Doge from a zoomed out chart from October 10th all the way till now, we're still bleeding quite hard. And that goes for all the altcoins in general. So if you're looking for any sort of buying opportunities, then again, this is not a bad spot to DCA. Again, that's just my thought process. It's totally up to you what you want to do. But in terms of long positions, we need better confirmations. Even if we look at Ethereum here, I ended up look at Ethereum in terms of the 20 EMA, right? We did see a very nice retest, but look at the strong rejections we're seeing. This is where a lot of traders make their mistake. What they do is the first green candle, they end up taking the long position because they think that this is the bottom. In order for us to have a clean confirmation, again, we need to get above this magical white line. Then, by all means, you'll see me start posting long positions. We'll be riding the wave towards the upside. But until then, there's not any sort of confirmations. A lot of people keep messaging me and saying, Pingu, can I long? Can I do this? Can I do that? And I keep telling you guys, if there is a confirmation for longs, you'll be the first to know. Right now, it's a very crucial point for leverage that we need to end up holding 73.7. Because again, in general, guys, and I'm talking about this from the previous price analysis and pretty much everything that I've learned over the years, the issue is the fact that the 63K region is the bottom of the move set. That's why I really need to see 73K hold and we see some sort of bounce opportunity. Now, there's a few ways you can look at this, right? So now just from a technical perspective, I want to quickly show you guys a few things. So number one, a lot of people might be looking at this as a head and shoulder pattern, right? I've seen that being posted around in terms of Twitter. This was the left shoulder, this is the head, this is the right shoulder, and now we should see a bounce. And then of course there is the other side of things on the daily level where this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and then we should see something like this, and then like that. Like that's also, again, one of those scenarios that are being posted. Personally speaking, head and shoulder patterns are very manipulated. I don't teach you guys head and shoulder patterns because, again, to me, when I was first starting technical analysis, all of them pretty much ended up making me lose money. So that's why I personally don't like head and shoulder patterns. But instead, I would focus heavily on the wicks. Now, if we look here on previous price analysis, where Bitcoin bounced specifically was the exact level where we kept using it as a resistance back in April and March of 2024. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 test opportunities here. So ideally, Bitcoin should see a bounce here in terms of strong support. The capitulation is going to come if we lose this level. And where exactly is, again, the bottom of the moveset? It would be right around this wick right here. So this would be the bottom of the moveset at 63K. That is a worst case scenario for Bitcoin as of right now. You guys are welcome to go ahead and put it in your chart. But again, no longs until we get above the EMAs. Then by all means, you guys are welcome to go for long positions. If you are going long, if you are looking for long positions, or you rather are in a long position, then you're only scalping. You're not holding this trade. You're not waiting for the setup for the squeeze. You're not going to say, oh my God, like all the way to the moon, because the point is you want to exit the trade as quick as you can, because there's going to be smaller reliefs throughout the market. We've seen that, right? So even from previous price about 2 days ago, we saw the small relief here, trapping longs again, nuke again, trapping longs again, nuke again. That's what happens in a downtrend. So all we're doing right now is we're simply going to watch 73.7. I'll talk about Ethereum now because I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering. So Ethereum, you can see, is very clean in terms of shorts and bearish setups. Very, very clean here in terms of Ethereum from 3019. Since we lost the EMAs, we've pretty much just been using them as resistance on the way towards the downside. You can see that there's absolutely no bullish pressure here in terms of Ethereum. Until recently, the past 2 days, we are now consolidating. The problem is that when you have such a large downwards trend and then you consolidate, it's not a buying opportunity. Instead, it's pretty much a confirmation of another leg towards the downside. We can see the same sort of confirmation happen up here on Ethereum at 3,300. We had the way towards the downside, consolidation, broke support, capitulation. This is pretty much what I'm worried about as of right now on Ethereum. This is what I don't want to see. You can see this cluster right here from the top of 33 down to 28, and then the consolidation. The same sort of cluster is now being formed here at 2200. You can see the exact same setup, exact same sort of price action consolidation. We might chop around this area for the next few days, but what we don't want to see is, of course, the wick low right here. This is the level structure we do not want to see on Ethereum. We do not want to see the wick low break here at 2122. Because guess what? The next wick opportunity in terms of Ethereum, if we end up breaking, is going to be 2029. That is a confirmation. I told you guys. 73.7 plays out on Bitcoin. We're going to look for capitulation on Ethereum, on Solana, pretty much everything. Once 73.7 is tested, that's it. We are exiting all trades, and we're going to be waiting and seeing how the setup plays. The issue is that if Ethereum ends up losing 2122, that puts Bitcoin below 73.7. Does that make sense? So in order for us to see a capitulation on Ethereum down to 2029, the assumption is that we are also going to lose support on Bitcoin at 73.7. So not only is Bitcoin going to see that cascade down, we're also going to see Ethereum go capitulation mode too. Once again, there is no reason to look for long opportunities unless you're scalping, because the 20 EMA has yet to play out. I just told you guys this previously. I said, look, more than likely what we're seeing now is we're going to see a squeeze into the 20 EMA, trap those longs or shorts, and then the deciding factor. Best case scenario for us is we break above. Worst case scenario is right here. Everyone go ahead and put it down. Again, I will post it in Telegram too. But this is your wick low here at 2110. That's the next level structure that you want to pay attention to. If that level structure breaks, free short opportunity into 2029. Very clean, very simple setup. The same thing, 2029 is going to act as a major support because there's a huge gap here in terms of the weekly. So if we end up losing 2122, just like we saw the same gap over up here at 25, there's nothing stopping Ethereum from dropping further. And again, yes, things can get uglier. Things can get lower. We do not look for emotional trading here. Instead, we just trade what the chart is telling us. So I hope that makes sense for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, I quickly want to talk about Solana and Doge, and then we'll pretty much end it off there. In terms of Solana, we did not break the wick low today. Yes, 73.7 was tested, but we have not yet broken the wick low in terms of Solana. Instead, we're still consolidating. The problem that I see in terms of Solana is the fact that the EMAs are still being used as resistance. You can see that even now on this squeeze that we just happened in the past hour, the bull still could not break above that 20 exponential moving average. Again, guys, if we look at the past few cycles in Solana, or not even just past few cycles, even dip opportunities on major capitulations, Solana always has a strong bullish engulfing candle at the oversold or, of course, major support level. The last time was, of course, April of 2025. You can see that Solana did see a major nuke from all the way at the highs of around 210, came down to 99, or even lower, 94, And then what happened was we saw a strong bullish engulfing, and that's where we started seeing volume come into the market, and then we knew that that was the local bottom. The current situation on Solana, as you can see, is not there, right? Where is the bullish volume in Solana? And that's my concern. If this truly was a bottom formation at $100, where is the volume? Right? Where is the volume in terms of Solana, in terms of the short squeeze or anything? That's when I get worried that I don't think that this is a local bottom for Solana, and we could be looking for a further drop opportunity. Now, this brings me to my next point, the capitulation part of things. Right now, everyone is seeing the same thing as 73.7, right? That was a Trump candle. There's a weekly level, everything. If the market ends up losing 73.7, that is where I think we're going to see a bloodbath, not only for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana as well. And Dogecoin, obviously, everything moves together, but that is where we're going to be looking for capitulation. Where does that put us in terms of Solana? And I'll quickly show you guys. Again, this my point of this live stream is not to scare you. The point of this live stream is to give you that level structure setup where things could get pretty ugly pretty quick, and that's all it is. The last time Solana ended up breaking the $100 region, we can see in one day we end up seeing a wick down to $79. Again, that's one example. Here's another example. The last time we ended up seeing capitulation on Solana back in January of 2022, same thing. Capitulation down to $79. And again, we can see it from both the way towards the upside and the downside. Last time Solana obviously went up, we kept using the level as resistance. But when you have 3 times Solana down right here in terms of liquidation capitulation, again, capitulation, and now for the 3rd time, does that make sense? Do you guys understand what I'm trying to say? And the market doesn't just do things randomly, right? We will more than likely than not see another capitulation candle, whether it's now or in the next few weeks. It doesn't really matter, right? I mean, I hope that we just see it now, get it over with, and move on with our lives. But that is going to be the next structure setup. It would be around $79. So all I'm going to be doing for Solana is simply just watching the wick low. If the wick low ends up breaking, I'm taking that short opportunity, riding it towards the downside. And in my head, mentally, I'm prepared for that $79 target. That's all it comes down to. Keeping your mental level in mind, and then pretty much just looking for the shorts on the wick break. It doesn't mean that you end up holding the short, right? We're not holding the short at $96 all the way down into 79. That's not the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation is that you just want to end up playing the wicks. For example, on Bitcoin today, if you shorted Bitcoin, when I kept saying in the chat, guys, pay attention to Bitcoin, it's going to be a big trade, it's going to be a big trade, our confirmation was right here at 74.5, right? That was a clean confirmation. Why? Because if we ended up losing the wick here, all of these guys were going to end up getting wrecked. As soon as you guys saw that wick, we saw a wick down from 74 into 73.7. Of course, we saw further capitulation into 72. But again, that's not what we're focusing on. We're focusing on what is given to us. The market was saying 73.7 is given. Okay, cool. Guys, here's the trade setup. 73.7, exit the trade. If the market drops further, awesome. I don't care, right? For me, it's not about, oh my God, it's dropping more. I could have made this. I could have made that. It's about what is the cleanest setup and where can you make the most money. And those are the cleanest setups. So in terms of Solana, I will continue repeating myself. I don't think that this is a bullish structure. We need to see volume come into the market in the daily close, or at least try to get back above 104. And then I can say, cool, we have a possible inverse BART formation looking to play out. Even on the daily level, we're extremely oversold. The EMAs are looking to play out. But in order for that to happen, we need to see volume come in. And right now, volume is just not there. We're just simply not seeing it. Just like we saw in the previous run, you can see this right here was a confirmed bottom, right? Market came down, liquidation fest, 95. Came back up. Immediately that same day, we pushed to 112. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for volume to come in the market. If we compare this consolidation to the current consolidation, where are we, right? So that's my point. Be careful when looking for bottom formations and just take it slow. It doesn't mean that you're not going to catch the bottom and it's over. It just simply means when you're on leverage, you have to pay attention to where things are likely to bounce. And again, right now, to me personally, for Solana, it doesn't make sense for us to see a massive squeeze here. Instead, it would be somewhere down in the low 90s, if not $79. Does that make sense for everyone? Cool. Yeah, sure. Yeah, again, that's pretty much it. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this as simple as I can just because I don't want anyone to kind of freak out in terms of price analysis. But That's all we're really doing now. We've played the trade from the low end. We've played the trade from the EMA retest. Now we're just going to wait for confirmations. It might be 2 or 3 days until you hear from me again, because the next trade setup is not going to be, okay, guys, the next trade setup is going to be a capitulation trade. It's going to be a local bottom trade. That's it. There's 2 ways we see this now, right? Before this whole past 2 weeks, we've pretty much just been shorting on the way towards the downside. Now is a matter of the question is this the bottom, or are we going to see further capitulation? That's all it comes down to. And again, because we're 4-hour interval traders and we're scalping, we're not really focused too much on the short-term picture. We're only going to be focusing on the wick break, which remains to be right here on Bitcoin. So the next level structure, in terms of a confirmed capitulation, 72.9. If we lose that level, guys, it's over anyways. I'm being so honest, because then 63K Bitcoin does play out. And I think, again, that would be capitulation for Solana. That would be capitulation for Ethereum. That would be capitulation for Doge. So the question becomes is, are you going to be a person that longs here, right, and holds this trade and ends up either getting liquidated or making generational wealth? That's totally up to you. Me personally, I'm just going to wait for the EMAs to play out, and here's the target for Bitcoin. 79.3 is our next long confirmation. Again, everything I do on YouTube is absolutely free. If you guys are interested in my Telegram, it is also free. I'll go ahead and link it in the chat. And that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to give you guys a little level perspective here, just so everyone is on the same page. So I hope that makes sense. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or just message me later. But yeah, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Again, 20 minutes is the hard stop for me, because I want everyone to watch this video later. And if they need to go through the lines or they need to check something, they can. Yeah, pretty much that's it. Thanks, guys, for coming. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.